this world. This is amazing, you know?
That's right.
And that's our now getting old. Like, yeah, these young guys, they got some. We were just talking. You have an iPod, and same one I have. And I think mine's whole. I got like 1,400 songs on the damn thing. It's not even close to being full. I got 1,400 songs and podcasts from everybody. You know what I mean? I don't empty it very often. Amazing. And you were saying and talking about how if you wanted that much music back in the 80s, it was not, being a DJ had to be a workout back in the 80s, man.
Well, I remember our high school dances. Those guys had cases upon cases upon cases of cassettes that were already rewound and set to the song that they wanted to play, and then after they would play it and start the next tape deck, because that's how they faded them in and out on the board.
Yeah.
Then he would take it out, and he had this little like a Walkman thing that he would then rewind that tape and get it set back at that song or the next song from that same album they wanted to put. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I remember when CDs came out, and first of all, I had a Mustang, and for Christmas I got a new tape deck for it. And it was one of those tape decks where the whole damn deck comes out. Remember that? Like for theft, like it had like a little handlebar on it, and they pull out, and you would carry it like a little suitcase, right?
Yep.
It's like no one's stealing mine because my little metal suitcase of shame. But then I bought a CD player. I remember I was like 92 when I finally got one, right? And I had to buy like the little platform to put it on. So it would stabilize it.
Oh yeah,
remember that? It was awful, man. You'd have to glue that thing to your dash of your car, and you'd have to put like and for Christmas I got like the carpet, the dash carpet thing. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I had one of those in my El Camino.
Okay, I hope Mom doesn't listen to this because Mom, I love you very much. She just bought me one of those for the Corolla like a year ago. That's what I got for Christmas. I opened it up. I said, "Oh, hello, 1991." And Mom, I love you, and it's going to help with the dash. And I don't know what happened to it. It's
Rodney peed on it.
I don't. Right after I did. But Rodney's my dog.
Oh, those are the coolest because you could have the worst dash in the world. Remember, and they came embroidered with
my name. My name was
Looney
on it.
Tunes and
oh no. Mine had my name on it.
It said Moose.
Yeah, well, it said Larry. Yeah.
Lauren.
In cursive.
At least it wasn't old English.
Why is that? What's so funny about that?
It's just that I'm picturing it in my mind, and I know that it's exactly what you had.
It was baboon ass red too. It was
picture in my mind. I know it.
Oh man. But back then those were slick, man. Like I won't own a car without a dash carpet, Remember that?
And then your little Discman platform stabilizer thing came with like the Velcro.
Yes.
Go to the stick right to the dash carpet.
That's right.
And then you could plug into the headphone or the headphone jack, your little cassette tape adapter that would go into.
And then when you were driving, the worst fear of all was it would skip. Remember that? When the non-skip technology wasn't quite
you
far
had to do the anti-skip thing where
on the side.
On the side, yeah.
Oh,
you had to lock it, had to hit the lock, then you had to hit anti-skip.
Why that's not just you know what I mean? Why didn't that come standard? Why do you got to tell it not to skip?
I'm sorry, but when it's your first car, you're 16 or 17. I mean, Guns N' Roses never sound better. It's never sounded better than going down the road listening to it just like that in my Delta 88.
My 81 Mustang. My buddy Tony Cordova used to have and I put these speakers in the back, you know what I mean? And I like rock music. I don't know why I bought the big, but he bought this big bass cannon. Remember those?
Oh, the bass cannon!
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I remember.
He bought a CD of just bass. Do you remember they used to sell
the
those?
bass CDs,
Booty bass, and
Miami bass. Remember the cover said "Warning: May damage your speakers." Remember that?
And you had to scratch yourself all the time because you were vibrating at such a low level. You just get everything on you just like I mean. there's got people stuttering their ass off nowadays because they listen to that. Like there's cholos out there like put it back on mine.
The bass cannons were cool because you didn't have to have a killer system.
No.
You could just use your factory crappy push button radio from your 81 GM car, and you could wire that straight to. I mean, all you had to do was run some kind of sound wire to the bass cannon. It had its own power supply, and you just hit the button, and it was live, and you had bass.
My grandfather, God rest his soul, and I love him, and I miss that man every day. He wasn't, I call a racist person. He just grew up in that era. And he used to always tell Tony, hey, you're not going to play that jungle music today, are you? Because if I catch you driving around town, I got to hear your jungle music. We're going to have a problem, right? And I'm like, what's jungle music, Grandpa? It's that bullshit that boy listens to. Keep it out of your car. I go, okay, Grandpa. Welcome to the jungle? Because I like that, Grandpa. I'm a vanilla bean bad. But, Tony had the booty bass and... Oh, man. You know what? I remember my mom found my Two Live Crew CD.
Oh, boy.
And I remember it because my mom is big on writing letters. Like,
Mom.
I found it, and I found a letter about how this depicts women, and you need to respect women, and they don't, these people don't do it. Because I think she heard the song Fuck Martinez blaring out of my car one day. Were you familiar with the CD, Adam?
Was that one?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
A little bit.
Me So Horny was on there.
Yeah, how's one song on that album different than any of the others as far as being offensive?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. But that was my intro to rap. That was like the Two Live Crew, and like Anthony listened to Too Short, and all, and I never really got into much of that. But I mean, that was the '80s rap. That's like MC Hammer and all those guys came out, and they kind of incorporated rap into the rockers, and you could see it on MTV. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Remember Dr. Dre and Ed Lover?
Oh, Ed Lover, yeah. I mean,
on Yo MTV Raps.
Ed Lover.
I don't remember that.
The guy was huge. He must have weighed 450 pounds.
He was bigger than Heavy D.
Yeah, he was big. He was huge. And Ed Lover, they were funny. They had a movie. Remember that?
I don't remember the
Who's
movie.
the Man or something, where they're cops.
I don't remember that.
All those old 90s movies. Like, all those MTV guys got movies, whether how bad they were, but like Joe's Apartment. Remember all those 90s?
Joe's Apartment was bad.
Yeah.
It's a bad movie.
But that's near and over there. But yeah, that was the technology we listen to our music on now. I mean, now I got to talk this guy right here to hook up my new stereo. But like in the Corolla, it's got a Bluetooth, man. It's crazy. Once my iPod enters the car, it picks it up and just starts playing whatever's on the iPod. It's nuts.
Wow.
It's the technology now. There's technology now. I was walking to a Best Buy, and do you know those Glade air fresheners where you pull it up? It's like a big cone.
Yeah.
You pull it up. They have a speaker that size, and the thing filled Best Buy. You could hear the music clearly, all four corners of that store, and that was, and it was all Bluetoothed from a speaker that big. It was freaking amazing. And I walked up to the guy. I'm like, "How many of these are in the store right now? How many are in the store?" And he's like, "Just that one." I go, "That speaker is literally filling the room." He goes, "Yeah, it's completely filling the room." I was shocked because back in our day, what was the big thing to have in your house? The home system, the tower speakers.
The big rack system.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the rack system? Yeah, I couldn't remember what they were called, man. What'd you have on there? An equalizer, a tape deck. If you were fancy, you had a CD player, but it was a CD player.
Turntable.
Yeah, I had a turntable with 5 on it. Yeah, and but usually it's had the Pioneer with the one little CD that came out. You got to play one CD at a time. Remember that?
Yeah.
What did you have?
I was the first. Actually, I saved up my money and saved, and in 1990, I spent $200 on a Sears all-in-one system. It had a, like, you see it. You remember when they used to send out the Christmas catalog?
Yeah.
It was in the wish book. Okay, so it stood about maybe 4 feet tall, and it was maybe 1.5 feet wide, and it had dual cassette, AM, FM, and then it had a turntable, and that all sat in a rack where you put your records underneath it at the bottom, and on either side it had a pair of tower speakers that looked like they were just full of watts, but in effect,
Nothing.
They were 4 feet tall, but they only had each one only had a 6-inch speaker in it.
Right.
But that was like top of the line. That wasn't individual components.
Right.
I mean, that was like the best you could buy. And my friends were like, "Holy cow! I can't believe you have this." But that was right on the edge of CDs. Like before, because that time you could buy. You could choose from maybe 200 cassettes, 300 cassettes in a music store, and maybe 20 CDs.
Right.
That was what it was like.
Right. I remember I paid for a receiver like $300 I'd saved up. But I was like a sophomore, junior in high school. And my grandfather freaked out. How much did you spend? I'm like, but Grandpa, this will hook up everything in my room. You know what I mean? This will hook up to the television. I can listen to the television through this. He's like, what the hell's wrong with the speakers and the television?
You can't watch Rambo that way, Grandpa.
You're a dumb old man, Grandpa. You don't know this is going to enhance my life. I might move out after this. I don't. But that technology was it was so nuts. We got so taken back then. I mean, now the technology, it's small. I mean, those Bose speakers, like I said, that little speaker will fill your whole house.
Amazing.
It is amazing. It's nuts. But aren't you glad you grew up in the area at the time you did?
Oh, yeah.
Me too.
You bet.
Adam?
Oh, definitely.
I mean, that's fun stuff to remember. You know what I mean? My first car, that Mustang with that pull-out speaker or the pull-out stereo system, I was living in Pueblo. We were there was a guy named Troy Rivera who grew up in Rocky Ford. He graduated in '97. He was a couple years younger than me. And we were driving around, him and a guy we called Hito, and we started talking about our first cars. And Hito had some Japanese car. I can't remember. I didn't even make the damn thing anymore. And I was like, mine's an 81 Mustang. And Troy goes, yeah, mine was an 81 Mustang too. And I go, yeah, mine was black and had a red pinstripe down it, and it had like the spoke tire, the spoke hubcaps. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So ghetto. And Troy's all, mine was like that too. And I'm like, we had a frosty stain on the back. He goes, yeah. And I'm like, and the vinyl on the back's cut all funny when me and Cordova tried to put in the new Pioneer speakers. We messed it up. He's like, yeah. And he goes, and it had like this pull-out tape deck. I'm like, that's my old car. He's all, it was my Black Beauty. I was like, man, I could tell you stories about that Mustang. Saw so much ass. That thing saw a lot of sex. The sad part is, none of it from me. Hey, give me your keys. No, man. No, you get your own car. It's not my fault you drive a pickup, dude. Like a little S10. That's not my fault, But it had a hatchback.
Oh, I was going to say, there's not a lot of space in the back seat of an 81 Mustang.
No, it was a hatchback. So it was a fastback. So yeah, you pulled the back seat down, and there was
it down.
Oh, there was all kinds of room, man.
Right.
I won't drop names, but yeah, there was a lot of guys. There might be. That's Mom calling. There might be some children in their 20s right now walking around that were conceived in the back of that Mustang. I won't say there wasn't. I don't know what happened. I know my keys. I'd have to find who had my keys last. You know what I mean? We can do DNA samples in the back to see who's.
Your phone. You okay, dude?
Oh, no. What is that?
Your phone is actually making that noise.
It's possessed. Stop.
Hit that little button on the side.
What button?
20 years from now, we're going to be sitting doing some podcast and say, you remember when the cell phones used to play music for no reason? I remember we were doing a podcast. You remember those old phones, right? They were like this thick and about that wide and had a clear face on them. Hey, Jack, you're crazy. Their cell phones are always that size. Remember when mine was all possessed, started playing that weird new hippie music, that Justin Bieber. And I had to pretend like I didn't actually download that music and make it my ringtone. I was with two other guys, and then Justin Bieber came on and said, how'd this get on my telephone? I've been hacked. Come on, man. It's like California sunset. Hold on. What?
Uncle Ed isn't going tomorrow. Okay.
Do you need me to do some kind of backup soundtrack?
We don't have our roadie tomorrow, so.
Oh, roadie.
But no.
I'll recruit Vincent.
For tomorrow?
Yeah.
He's here?
Well, he will be.
Oh, okay. All right. Our Lamar guy. I forgot I was going with this. That's the song that we're going to play real quick. At the end of the podcast, I've been finding music on Reverb Nation or on my Twitter or whatever, and artists And if you'd like your songs or your music played on this podcast at the end, you can get a hold of me at mooseat24ro.com is my email, or find me on Twitter. I'm Juggernaut Brothers at Jugbro, or Moose Lundstrom at Moose Lundstrom on Twitter. Today we're going to play a song by Shameless. Shameless to Say. They're a group out of Wyoming. The song is called... Do you guys know what the song's called?
California Sunset.